Mr. Wright, Bob Wright, Friends of the River, and after that, Mr. Doug Wallace from East Bay Mud. Mr. Wright, good to see you again, sir.
Good morning again, Mr. Chairman and Council members. I'm making my comments on behalf of Environmental Water Caucus and Friends of the River, and I don't want to repeat anything that we've said before, either written comments a couple of weeks ago, oral comments a couple of weeks ago, or in the various written comment letters. But just by way of summary and introduction to what I think is a rather important proposal we're going to present to you today about several proposed amendments to your regulations. Just to set the stage for that, we've talked in the past about how...
These are in addition to the comments you made at our last
Yes.
hearing? Okay, new things. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
That we've talked in the past about how there are admitted water quality and endangered species impacts that would result from the Delta Plan and regulations, and how the plan and your past environmental documents themselves really contained admissions of work that needed to be done to assess environmental issues that hasn't been done. So with that said, from our perspective, it's always best to talk and negotiate before fighting, particularly appropriate with future Secretary of State John Kerry talking about those kinds of things this morning back in Washington. And from our perspective, we really don't know if it's actually the intention of the Council to plan for, recommend, encourage, call for new conveyance, optimizing diversions, the massive new upstream conveyance from the Delta in the form of the Delta tunnels that the exporters want. Because we recognize that it's possible that given in your own draft DIR, you were anticipating and set forth, you were expecting the BDCP plan and EIR, EIS, with all the information that presumably will contain, to be out in mid-2012, and that didn't happen. Perhaps the Council doesn't really have the intention to, at this point in time, start us down the course of massive new conveyance upstream from the Delta. There's something new that we've not cited to you before at all, and it's in your rulemaking package. It's your own initial statement of reasons, particularly as pertaining to Regulation Section 5007. And at pages 5 through 6 of that document, your statement of reasons talks about the best available science suggests that the currently required flow objectives within and out of the Delta are insufficient to protect the Delta ecosystem. There's more that it says, including, to summarize briefly, the ideas for the State Water Resources Control Board to establish an accelerated process to determine in-stream flow needs for the Delta for the purposes of facilitating the planning decisions that are required to achieve the objectives of the Delta Plan. And what we say to you about that is those statements we agree with. They appear to be clear and indisputable, and that being the case, it would be directly contrary to those statements to proceed now to make planning decisions calling for or facilitating new upstream conveyance for the exporters, because your own statement of reasons indicates that it's necessary first for the Water Board to make their determinations for those types of planning decisions to be made. And so what we've done, prepared a very short letter. Signature line is on the 4th page, but to be fair, it's a 2.5 to 3 page letter. And one page consists of just several amendments we propose to you to Section 5007 of your regulations that you're considering today. We suggest keeping, as you've drafted them, subsections A and B. We propose you delete subsections C and D and adopt new subsections C and D that we propose in exact regulatory language for you. And basically they indicate that there's a statement in your regulations that your plan and regulations, in fact, do not call for new conveyance, do not plan for that, and that anything anywhere else in the regulations or Delta plan contrary to that would be controlled by new subsections C and D. In addition, a couple of brief, almost one-line changes to your general definitions in Section 5001, subsection E1A and E1C, to make clear that in your definitional sections, you're not making a planning decision calling for new conveyance. And we at Friends of the River would invite the council, through your legal counsel or your executive officer, to communicate with me or Mr. DeCroce if you have any interest in pursuing either our amendments or possibly amending our proposed amendments. We have set it out for you, and I will put this letter into the record with Angela.
Okay, if you would give her the letter as soon as you're through, we'd appreciate it.
And unless there are any questions, I am through and do appreciate your time.
Mr. Wright, thank you very much.